So thank you very much. Thank you for all the Thomas, Kevin, and all the teams here hosting me here. So my name is Asaf Yav. I'm the corporate system engineer, EMEA and APJ here at Infinidat, working more than 5 years. Really glad to be here. It's my second here in the KubeCon. And today I want to discuss, it's here? Okay. And today I want to discuss about the integration of the Infinidat and Kasten. But before that, I'm acting also as a SME, as a subject matter expert for the Kubernetes stuff with the containers application. I see several guys here with several companies. I don't know, guys, if you're working with a persistent volume and yeah, you're working with, perfect. So what I hear from customers, it's actually the solution is great, everything is great, but the picture is missing. It's not complete 100%. And why is that? Because we don't have a data protection set like we have with the traditional way. And then come to play the Kasten, that actually this is the market leader today for backup containers application workloads, end-to-end, a very easy, very efficient way. And then when you combine the two, Infinidat and Kasten, customer leverage, very easy and efficient way to do a backup and restore operation. Infinidat and Kasten working for many years. Infinidat and Vim by Kasten working for many years at the tight integration, also in the traditional. And now we're really happy about the joint venture with Kasten. But before I talking about what is Infinidat and what is the Kasten that maybe you know or don't know, let's talk a little bit about the data protection challenges of the Kubernetes today. So there is a 5 pain point for customer that working with containers and how they're doing backing up application. So the first one is the application consistency. You know, there is a rapidly changes in containers that working in a scale that also the containers should be update and change it all the time. And it's very easy to take a backup as a consistent application backup like you're doing in a traditional way. Also, the Kubernetes, by the way, is working in a different approach. Volume consistency. If you have a containerized, that actually the containers are allocated consumer volume and it's separate for that Kubernetes platform, it's very hard to do a volume consistency. Also for the scalability. Kubernetes platform, it's working in a high available scale and it's always scale up. And taking a backup in a scale mode, it's very hard and very challenging for application. Terms also for performance when you are taking a backup in performance. And last but not least is the disaster recovery. If you have a disaster recovery and you need to recover and restore your application, the containers application, it's very complex to do at the DR site when you don't have the right data protection application. And I will answer all this right away, but before that, let's understand a little bit what is Infinidat and what we are offering to the market. So Infinidat is a leader in a Gartner Peer Insight in all the enterprise use cases. We are focused on, it's not a laser, we are focused on we are focused on a 3 main product line. We have the InfiniBox. This is actually the primary storage. And we have the InfiniBox SSA. Both of them is the primary storage for any consolidated workload in a low latency. You can run it everywhere, starting for business application like SAP, Oracle, machine learning, any mission critical application. And we have the InfiniBox SSA that actually complete the picture that with a sub-millisecond low latency. This is, by the way, the fastest storage in the industry, the SSA. SSA, it stands for Solid State Array. And the magic between under InfiniBox is that we are working on the cache, really massive cache algorithm that's running AI and machine learning in the box. And we know how to predict the I/O. And last but not least is the InfiniGuard. Actually, this is the secondary storage that actually give the customer ability to do a really quick backup and restore for a multi-petabyte scale. But before that, customer from IDC, we got a really good report from IDC about how to customer reduce the ROI and the TCO less than 1 year. Now I want to discuss a little bit about the advantage of InfiniDAT and what is the challenges in data protection. So let's talk a little bit the integration between Kubernetes and persistent storage and how actually the things working behind. So we know everyone here that the Kubernetes is, by the way, is the de facto standard for containers application. Every containers that they need to run on needs the Kubernetes platform. But developers see how good it is, and once they're running a stateless application that not needs a persistent volume, they want all these goodies for Kubernetes to run a stateful application. And to run stateful application, you need a persistent volume, and there's a heavy demand from the field, from customers, that to run Kafka, NoSQL, any database that need a persistent volume to get and run the application. And then for that, you need advanced storage and data protection capabilities like you have today in the traditional way. So for that, you need a CSI driver. So CSI stands for the Container Storage Interface that is, by the way, the standard for block and file export for the containers application workloads. So this is another word. CSI, by the way, is a dynamic provisioning, and this is the standard in Kubernetes. Before that, it was a state, it was not dynamic, but it was more a static provisioning. And CSI gives the autonomy and flexibility for developers to create dynamic provisioning very easy and very efficient. Here you can see the InfiniBox CSI driver with all the features that actually InfiniDAT support. We invest a lot, and our CSI driver is compliant with the CNCF. We support multiple InfiniBox systems. If you have a Kubernetes cluster that needs several InfiniBox like test and dev or even a production or any others use cases, you can manage through a single CSI driver that runs. We support multi-access mode. Multi-access mode would mean we support read only once, read write many. Read write many, by the way, not all the CSI driver support it. It's the ability to get access for several node workers to the same PV. So for example, a database that you need to update the same PV and read it from others. Resize cloning and all, etc. We support all our protocol for Fiber Channel, iSCSI, NFS, and TreeQ to extend the number of file systems. And we have several deployment methods, and from upstream Kubernetes, and we have an operator base certified with OpenShift. Also, we have integration with OneShare and others, but customer running CSI driver can run in everywhere. Here is just a marketing slide that mentioned from GigaOM report when they mention InfiniDAT is outperformer. You can see on the right. And here I want to give you some explanation how the PV actually creating flow behind the scenes when you're running a CSI driver. So on the left, you can see a developer or maybe applications that need to create a PVC. PVC has a persistent volume claim. And then you need to specify a storage class. Storage class is all the storage properties. Then the CSI driver notify a request, create the volume, like the 500 gig, and then It's create a PV, and there is a bind-to-bind from the PV to PVC, and then the application see the 500 gig. This is what happened behind the scene when running a PVC spec. Okay, so we're talking about storage and talking about the challenges, and now let's talk a little bit about how Kasten integrated in this solution. This is a high-level overview, and you can see that the Kasten is actually working in several methods. So first one is the Kasten by Vim. It's a data protection containers application. That first one is working with the with the orchestrator API, with a container orchestration platform. They can working with OpenShift, Rancher, Kubernetes, Tanzu, and others. So they are really agnostic. It could be in-premise or in the cloud. And this is why they need to know actually the life cycle of the containers. They checking all the time what's happened in the Kubernetes cluster. Then a second is the connection between the API with the infrastructure is actually the Infinity.CSI driver, for example. And then you have to create the persistent volume. And second, the third is actually with a framework application to actually to know and to be aware on the database. So for example, if you need to back up a database, how you do a QoS, for database. So this is why Kasten need to know. So Kasten actually familiar with all the applications like Kafka, MongoDB, and others, and this is very good for you guys. This is an end-to-end management that actually facilitate all the Infinidat and Kasten. So on the left, you can see a Kubernetes cluster. You have all the secrets, the config map. You have the PVC that actually is running by the InfiniBox-CSI driver that's running in the Kubernetes cluster. You can export by NFS, iSCSI, or Fiber Channel. Then Kasten aware of it and can create snapshot. It's a bi-directional, can create snapshot, do export, and know what's happened with the CSI. And this is great, but what happens if you want a disaster recovery? Okay, so disaster recovery, it's one of the challenges that I just presented. And with InfiniGuard, customer can do an offsite or another protection layer and taking all the Kubernetes application via NFS to the InfiniGuard. This is the purpose-built backup appliance that also complies with Kasten. So this is actually a complete picture end-to-end Infinidat and Kasten for customers to do backup and restore in a multi-petabyte scale. Any question before I run a demo? No. Okay. After the demo, by the way, I have a scan code that you can scan and get some gifts. Great. So in this demo, what I want to show you, it's a recording demo that here I want to show you a flow of taking a backup of a persistent volume. Okay, it's actually a containers that I created. Now what you can see here, we just saw that the Kasten is up and working. I just shortened the time of the demo because I don't want to waste so much time. So the CSI driver is installed in the Kubernetes cluster and the Kasten is installed. And then I just want to check a pre-flight checking with Kasten and then taking a backup and then doing a restore after a ransomware attack, for example. So this is the first time when you log into Kasten HTML5. You just mention the email, the company name, and you have the GUI. Very easy, very nice tool. You can see the application. You remember that Kasten know every application. They see all the life cycle application in the cluster, so they know what's happened behind the scenes. You need to open the port 80 to do a port forward to log into the application. For the demo, I created a namespace dedicated for this demo, K10 demo. So it has been created. Now I want to create a PVC. PVC, it's a persistent volume claim. You can see here, the storage is just 1 gig for the example, and taking from NFS storage class that I just created before. Now let's create a PVC. The PVC has been created. Here I just open Event Watch on the InfiniBox storage system, and we can see the system file CSI as created and exported to the worker nodes. Now let's check that the PVC is running. So the Nginx CSI driver, and you can see also is access mode, read write many, and the storage class. So we are good to go. We have a PVC. Now let's create a pod, an Nginx pod. So this is the application. The name Nginx CSI. Container port is 80. It's a simple pod. It's simple HTML5. Any question, guys, until now? OK. OK, so we can see that the pod is running. Nginx CLI is running, is up and running. Now what I want to do is connect and taking a snapshot. But before that, I want to copy the index. I create before an index HTML, just a web page application, just for the demo to see. So I copy the HTML to the Nginx containers. -o wide is give me the IP. So it's 192.168.96.98. I open a Firefox, and then I can log in to the container. OK, so we have a container, just a demo, Infinite CSI driver. Perfect. Now that we have a running container, let's take a snapshot. Great. So you can see the custom data protection recognize our new application, K10 demo. And he says it's not protected by the policy. So the first thing is to do is create a policy. You need to create a policy. There's a lot of options how to create a policy. You can import, you can take a snapshot. What is the backup frequency? It could be daily, hourly, or weekly. Very granular, as you can see, custom give us the possibility. So let's just create a policy. Perfect. And for the demo, you can run it as a head hoc. So let's run it once. Yes. Perfect. So what's happened now in the background? There is a backup process taking a snapshot from the InfiniBox. OK, taking a snapshot on the file system. And you can see it now. And export to the caster. So that's it, finish. Really, really easy. In just 13 seconds, we have a complete snapshot of the containers. OK, let's check what happened on the InfiniBox. So event watch just show me that I take a successfully, and the file system snapshot created for this file system. And you can see this is a compliant. So now the application is compliant to the policy we just created. Perfect. Next, let's do a quick corruption. So I created a script that corrupts the data, like a ransomware attack. What's happened if the data is corrupted? Let's check the application. OK, refresh the application. And Okay, all the letters just swap. Nice. You know, in the real world, it's very, what happens if you get a ransomware attack. This is all the time what customers talk with us about. Okay, so if we need to restore from a point in time to restore the attack, we go just to the application, click on the restore, confirm, and just in 2 clicks, very simple, very easy. You can see how simple it is, custom. You can restore the pod, restore the application, and you can see it here. It just come up. Perfect. The blue one is running. The green one is completed. And you can see the restore application. It's 1 gig. Okay, successfully, after 30 seconds, we restore the application. Let's check actually the application. So what's happened here from the InfiniBox, we create snap on snap, change it from read only to read write, and do an export because it's a new pod, right? We just crashed the pod. There is a ransomware attack. It's create a new pod. Let's check now the new IP of the pod. Before that, it was 98. Now it's 99. Let's log in to the pod, to the container, sorry. Okay, we just revert from a point in time snapshot, and the container is just running as it should be. Very, very nice, very easy. You can see how easy it is working with custom, and you have a enterprise class, a storage class that behind the scenes doing a quick and efficient snap with a redirect on write. Before I finish, there is if you want some partner resources and related Kubernetes documented with Infinity.custom and others, you can just check in our website. In the end of the slide, there is a QR code that you can scan to get my presentation and also get really nice a gift. Yep. Sorry?
I said I'm running Valero and Restic in my environment. So it does the job pretty well for persistent volumes and for the pods and service accounts and etc. The one thing that we generally have a problem with is the stateful sets, like basically the databases. It's not always consistent. Now, let's just say I'm trying to restore it. You know, the state doesn't get captured correctly all the time. How does Kasten address that?
So it's a good question about Valero.
I can actually, since I'm on the Kasten side, I can probably answer that better. So I think on the Kasten side, you need to. Oh, I need to really stick it to my face. Yeah. So on the Kasten side, for support for database, we work not only at the snapshot layer, which was just shown, but we also work at the logical database layer. So depending on the type of database you have, we have a bunch of what we call blueprints, which go ahead and exercise the native. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. All right. Is COVID over? Okay, so so let's see. So I think we can work at the logical layer with using the native APIs or backup APIs that database supports. So if you're using, for example, Postgres, and you want to exercise PG dump so you can get the level of consistency, that's what Kasten can also exercise. And so with that, we've got a support for a long list of databases already. And then there are blueprints that you can write or you can extend for your environment. And we support both databases that might be running in your Kubernetes clusters, or they could be managed databases like a MongoDB Atlas or an Amazon RDS. Yeah.
Thank you. Happy to show you. Yeah, thank you. But before I finish, I just want to demonstrate a customer use case. This is a really nice use case that actually customer, I don't mention the customer name, but this is what customer running in production. You can see on the left, they're running a traditional workload, okay? But in the same InfiniBox, they want to run a test and dev containers application. So what they do, it's actually taking a consistency group, taking on snap, with our CSI driver, they can import the traditional volume and invert them to a persistent volume, and then they can create hundreds of thousands of environments on the same InfiniBox. So with a single box, you can run traditional volume and also test and dev and even production Kubernetes applications. So this is why I call it DevOps at scale, that the transformation from traditional to a Kubernetes stuff, it's really easy and working very good with InfiniBox. So this is actually the summary and the key point that I want you to take out. The joint solution provides Infinidat and Kasten as a data protection for Kubernetes. We're talking about application consistency. We're talking about disaster recovery. We're talking about the volume consistency. Working both companies together, vendors together, give you the right choice, the right performance and storage for your customer, for your containers applications. You know, I'm talking a lot, but before that, let's give the users what have spoken, that this is Gartner Peer Insight, what the customer, the end user, say about InfiniBox. So you can see we have 4.9 and 5 out of 5 for our products for Gartner Peer Insight. And this is another slide about the IDC, where we have a press release in May 10th about the business case for reduced ROI and TCO in the market. So you can register here. That's it. Please scan it if you want to get my presentation and also get some goodies. Yeah, so thank you, guys. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free.
Is Kasten, is this just a deployment with a subscription, or is it a full deployment, a full rack of equipment along with support for the backends? Do you include the solid-state devices? Do you include the solid-state devices? Do you include, let's just say, like the entire rack and support the entire thing?
From the InfiniBox, yeah, it's a custom rack for multi-petabyte scale. If you have from 300 terabyte or half of petabyte to more than 10 petabyte of scale of capacity with a high performance and low latency. And for Kasten, you have the ability to take data protection.
So it's not just software plus the subscription, right? It's not like you bring your own hardware and then, you know, like basically...
No, it's not bring your own hardware. Maybe other Kasten working with others, like, I don't know, Min.io or something like that working, but not with InfiniBox. InfiniBox is working differently. We are working in a big, big caliber. Great.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for presentation today.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of good questions there, a lot of good interaction.